The lives and deaths of the stars seem impossibly remote from human experience, and yet we're related in the most intimate way to their life cycles. The very matter that makes us up was generated long ago and far away in red giant stars. A blade of grass, as Walt Whitman said, is the journey work of the stars.
What I'd like to share with you is the fact that we are born of stardust. That may sound poetic. It's not from a poem. It's certainly not from the Bible. It is a scientific result. It's a result of our scientific knowledge of the universe. Here is a picture of that stardust.
Over hundreds of millions of years, ancient stars build up all the elements that make up our solar system today, including the atoms in your body. But in doing so, these stars pay a catastrophic price. Drained of energy, the ancient stars collapse and then explode in a supernova, spreading their chemically rich stardust across space.
The iron in your blood, the calcium in your teeth and your bones, these were created in a supernova explosion, probably different stars that blew up billions of years ago, seeding the space around them with this stuff.
We are the product of not just one stellar explosion, but many stellar explosions. And the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and iron, all of that was only created in stars. And the only way it could get here on Earth is if those stars exploded and that material was later amalgamated in our solar system.
You said, we are stardust.
Yes.
What does that mean?
For me, the most astonishing fact is that the molecules that comprise our body are traceable to the crucibles of the centers of stars that manufactured these elements from lighter versions of themselves and then exploded, scattering this enrichment across the galaxy into gas clouds that would later collapse to form next generation star systems. One of those star systems was ours. These atoms and molecules are in us because, in fact, the universe is in us. And we are not only figuratively, but literally stardust.
The amazing thing is that every atom in your body came from a star that exploded. And the atoms in your left hand probably came from a different star than your right hand. It really is the most poetic thing I know about physics. You are all stardust. You couldn't be here if stars hadn't exploded, because the elements, the carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, iron, all the things that matter for evolution weren't created at the beginning of time. They're created in the nuclear furnaces of stars, and the only way they can get into your body is if the stars were kind enough to explode. So forget Jesus. The stars died so that you could be here.
It's astonishing. So you and I are made of the same material as exploded stars. So you and I are at least one of the ways the universe knows itself.
So you're saying that the stars created us?
So for us...
How is that any more or less, I mean, how is
to us
being exploded by a star more believable than God could be?
Don't you have a blind faith, Bill?
No.
Because you said everything
I've
came about by natural processes.
I've observed the stars moving apart.
Have you observed stars form people?
Not yet.
If you're lucky enough, some of this debris will form stable orbits around the star. And these are actually baby solar systems. These are tiny young stars that have gravitationally held on to a little bit of that debris that's beginning to orbit around now. All of that wonderful and rich material, you actually give it a stable place to land on, you form a planet out of it, and pretty soon you have something like our home. And this is an actual picture of the Earth taken by the Lunar Reconnaissance Orbiter orbiting the moon right now. This is the story of where we came from. And you know, it's a story that we had to piece together bit by bit, and that's the fun part about being a scientist. We are such brief creatures that we can't observe a star being born and living and dying. That's a billion-year journey. But instead, as a scientist, we look at millions of stars at once, and some are being born, some are living their lives, and some are dying. And we try to figure out the story. So how has this story affected me? Well, it's an amazing thing to tell you that I know where you come from, and I know where I come from. And we come from the stars, literally. You may have heard we are stardust, and you thought it was something poetic, something that was kind of a nice analogy. But your body literally had to be forged inside a star that died.